Hi, folks. This is Bubba. This is Olden Denim Bubba. You know this show is M&M. We have music on this show. We have messages on this show. We have more man-to-man talk on this show than anything. We will run some music in, but this is a man-to-man talk about issues that's going on in today's world. Well, this show is more or less about today, yesterday, and what can we make tomorrow. Okay, yesterday we had slavery. Today, we still got oppression. And we're just talking about the reason this oppression is, and the reason it continues is because we've been divided. We've been divided by deliberate plot. Yes. So we're trying to discuss this so maybe we can figure out a way to unite and call an end to this division up here. Today, we have Mark Sutton with us. This brother's done a lot of time in prisons. And he's turned his life around, and he's trying to he's being a service to the community now. Mark, what's going on with your program that you started right now?
I started an organization during my incarceration called the PBCG Project. It's called Partnership Building Community Groups. We, when I got out, we had a symposium gathering, and during the symposium gathering, we created a movement that was called the New Seed Movement.
The New Seed Movement.
The New Seed Movement. In the New Seed Movement, what our focus was to help people get jobs. So we've helped over 350 people get jobs already in the city of Pasadena. For the first time, local people in 100 and some years of the Rose Parade, the first time local people has ever did the cleanup was through the efforts that my organization, the Ron Matthews, Alta Pasa did to have them do the cleanup. And the majority of guys that were doing the cleanup were ex-gang members and guys that came out of the prison system.
The guys who really need a chance.
Exactly, most definitely. And the cleanup, they did so good that the city workers was upset because the work got done so good and so fast. They wanted to hang out and drag it on, but we wanted to get the work done and demonstrate that we were here to work hard. And although I was a supervisor, I got out there and worked just as hard as they were.
Set the example.
Right, most definitely. And plus, a lot of them looked at me as their big homie because of that culture that we come from. So I wanted them to see that even though I'm your supervisor, I'm out here doing the same work you doing.
Even though you've changed your ways, you still got brothers looking up to you.
In addition to that, we are now working on opening a thrift store. I'm working with the Deputy Chief of Police, Daryl Qualls. He also is on board with it to get a thrift store. It'll be a non-profit, but the basis of the thrift store is to generate funding.
Generate funding and
so
jobs.
That we can, and jobs, right, most definitely. But we also do cognitive behavior training. So you get a person a job and then they sabotage it. So it's designed to show them, to help them discover why they're sabotaging their opportunities, whether it's jobs, business, relationships, whatever. And so they go through this training as well so that we can create quality workers. So that when people ask us to give them workers, they know they're getting quality workers. So that's what this organization is doing, and that's what we're committed to doing. We want to help people start that.
We need this.
And you know, I can see this program really helping because I know I was a knucklehead. Us knuckleheads can reach other old knuckleheads. We done changed our way of looking at things because they'll listen to us. They know we know. They'll call you OG. What's up, OG? And they can relate.
They show a small amount of respect. Too.
Right. It's about respect, and that's one of the things we talked about earlier. That is needed, respect. You know, you can't teach someone nothing if they don't have respect to you. If you're trying to give them that. Mark, this is a great thing that's going on. And you're assisting the ones who are at risk, the ones that are just coming home from jail, the ones who need a chance, and that's what's needed more. And I hope my audience is seeing this as an opportunity for them to understand that we need to unite and help those that need help.
That's right. That's it. And so. One of the powers in this networking, I believe that in order for us, I'm not going to other organizations asking them to give up any money. I'm saying we all have resources.
Right.
And let's bring those resources together so that we can be more effective in our communities. You know, everybody, when this person is worrying about you tapping on with their federal grant or their state grant, and this organization is worrying about this grant, and then they sometimes are unwilling to work with other organizations based on that. And so that's one of the bases of me being self-sufficient and working towards building this thrift store. And I'm learning the trade so that I work with an organization called ACCD. They send the funding to train me to, it's called American Christian Association, American Christian Character Development. And this organization is the organization that funds what I'm doing right now, so I can come from San Bernardino to Pasadena. And we have an office located at the Jackie Robinson Center today. And so so it's really coming together.
Your organization is actually going to be the future organization that everybody's going to be looking at, and then it's going to be somebody with a new organization talking about how yours helped them.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
So if we know someone that is at risk of or in trouble, is this a place where they can come and find someone who could?
Most definitely, because the purpose of the organization is to create a network system. So we are plugged into other organizations so that we can be more effective. So I don't have, one organization don't have all the solutions, but all the organizations together can come together and create solutions for our community.
Once again, there's that unity.
That's right.
And we need solutions. We know what the problems are, but we don't have solutions to all the problems. And that's what we need to concentrate on, solutions, because that's what's going to get us out of this condition.
And another thing that I'm getting out of this, Mark, and I appreciate this, is the fact that we can't count on someone else to do it for us.
That's right.
Yeah.
We can't count on someone else to do it for us.
No.
You got to start. If someone don't give you a job, you got to start a job yourself.
The fact that he's not asking for help, help is coming to him. And he's not going out trying to solicit help from other organizations. They're coming to him. And that makes him self-sufficient in its own right. So he'll grow and he'll be independent, and then he can reach out and help the other. And it's one hand washing the other. It's almost like a relay handing off the baton. You know. So yeah, it's a great thing. It's not good. It's great.
And I'm excited about it, you know, because so many people are in support of this effort.
Yeah.
And I remember the deputy chief of police said to me, whatever changed you, I want to get behind. I want to support, because I knew you when you were in the street.
Right.
And I know you. That's right. We had a lunch over at the Comrade restaurant, and I'm sitting there. It was just. For me, I'm sitting there talking to the Pasadena Deputy Chief of Police.
Exactly.
He's in his uniform.
But nobody could have told you that 26 years ago.
And I would have never imagined myself
you being sitting there talking to the police
and talking
without
to him,
handcuffs on.
and talking to him with his uniform on, not really seeing the uniform.
Yeah.
Just seeing a individual who really wants to help the community as well.
Is that God's power or what?
Well, that's God's power. Me being here today is God's power.
That's God's power.
That's God's power.
You know, and also I want to reach out to my audience. You young guys out there who may be at risk and in trouble, you can look at this. You can look at this young man, and you know you can do the same thing. You can change your way of looking at things. You can. There is hope out there for you.
Mark, do you have a phone number or a website that you can tell the audience?
They can contact me at 909-450-9810.
Say that again.
909-450-9810.
Do you have a email address?
The email is Allsiders Clothing and Apparel. Allsiders Clothing and Apparel at Gmail.
And you can also reach him at the Jackie Robinson Center. Like he said, they have an office at the Jackie Robinson Center. So if you have someone in your family or you yourself happen to be at risk or in trouble and you want to change your lifestyle, check him out at the Jackie Robinson Center. And anyway, we'll be right back with more from Mr. Mark Sutton. And this is M&M, Message and Music. Message to you young men. Each one reach one and teach one.
That's right.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to M&M. Today we have a very interesting young man here with us today, and we were getting into who he is. But first of all, we know most men have a mentor or a role model or a hero they look up to. And I have asked Mr. Mark Sutton here to tell us who his hero was so we can get a general idea of who his Superman was. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, your hero is?
Nat Turner.
Nat Turner.
Right. And initially I was drawn to Nat Turner mainly because of the level of violence that Nat Turner inflicted on people who he felt was at the time was oppressing him. They had him under, he was a slave. And when I got older and I started looking more into the way Nat Turner was able to, he was a preacher, and he was able to go from plantation to plantation, interact with other slaves when that was uncommon. They kept the slaves apart unless they worked on that plantation. Exactly. And then they all worked together, but they wouldn't let slaves interact like that, you know. Yeah, and so right. Nat Turner was able to go from plantation to plantation, and while he was doing that, and he under the umbrella of him being a preacher and church, he was organizing the slaves. Oh, as yeah. Right, he was organizing the slaves to rise up and fight against slavery and oppression, you know, and they went on a killing spree to do that. Nat Turner started out as a slave, right, and actually turned into a revolutionary. That's right. That's the Panther connection again. That's right. That's you know, we got to do something about it. Stand up and do something about this. Yeah. It has a link like to a gang thing too, but right, it wasn't. It right, was they were fighting for their liberation and their freedom. And the power, and so when I recognized that, the other leader that was significant was Cornel West, and those were transitions. In Nat Turner being my role model, then Cornel West, who became a role model based from an intellectual perspective, and a perspective that allowed me to be able to articulate my position regarding black leadership and what's going on, the plight of black men. And so with those two together, I was able to really take a look at my behavior and then make a determination on how to come back to my community once I was released, to organize the community to deal with community violence, prevention and intervention, teen pregnancy, AIDS prevention, the things that has been plaguing our community, dealing with drugs. I became a drug and alcohol counselor certified drug during my incarceration. During the time you was incarcerated. Right. And Mark, didn't I meet you up at Jackie Robinson right after you had gotten out? Right. Me and Bubba was together that day. I was given a meeting, and we came and filmed it. That's right. It was called the Symposium Gathering. Yes. I didn't want to call it a meeting because I didn't want them to think that now that I'm out, this gang member is calling a meeting with gangs. So I call it a Symposium Gathering. That's right. And so we had black leaders there. We had ex-gang members. We had ex-drug dealers. And so the objective was to bring everybody together, and then let's see how we can work together to be able to resolve some of the issues in the community. And the first thing we did is stop the violence at Jack Robinson Park. Stop the violence, I know. Yeah, that was the first thing we did. And that's a complete turn. That's a complete turn from the beginning you were saying, and I was just trying to let that happen. The violence that you originally started out with, you found a way to combat it from knowing it. Right. And that's the difference in the two people, from Nat Turner to Cornel West. Cornel West took you to a more intellectual way of dealing with your issues and problems of being suppressed by the system that we live in. Most definitely. And that type of, it's almost like reading his material gave me it's almost like when I used to do law, And one of the things when I would do law was I would go to a law book, and the law book would give me the language. Because you need the language in order to be able to convey the message to the court.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And so that's what Cornel West did for me. He gave me language that helped me to be able to convey my message to the people that I want to reach, you know. And so in doing that, those two, and then looking at Nat Turner, he really helped me to see the importance of us really unifying and working together, and not necessarily taking it to that level, because that's what was needed during those times. You know, and that's what I talk to a lot of gang members. I tell them, you know, I know that you're stuck in a way of thinking because you believe that's needed now when that's not needed, because you have someone in your life that's giving you opportunities.
Yeah.
And so you don't need to do what you did then to survive those moments. And the same thing with
Teaching
Nat
truth.
Turner.
Teaching
You know,
truth.
we don't need to do what was done then to survive now.
Yeah.
That was needed then. So the organization is what we need now, and to bring our leaders and the black leaders in our community, hold them accountable.
Yeah.
You know, and tell them, look, it's time for us to sit down at the table. We have too many successful people in our community where the things that we're going in, we should have a black UN. We should have a black FEMA. When
Yeah.
what happened in
New Orleans.
New Orleans, we should have had a black FEMA lined up so that we can just roll up there, and if they need to use us, they can use us.
Yeah.
You know, but have something.
But every time
established.
this is tried to be established, you had the powers that are over us come in, send in an agent, dismantle it some kind of way by discrediting the leader, you know, just lying. Because that's what they've been doing since they took over this country. They've been lying and stealing. And their object is, it's okay, but don't get caught.
Right.
If you don't get caught, we're fine with you. But if you get caught, we're going to have to fold you like a napkin, because we got to fold everybody that gets caught. You know.
You know, but there's a common thread that I'm seeing through all these different conversations I'm having with different people about the issues that we deal with today. And the common issue with our culture is the lack of unity.
Yes.
The lack of unity. Okay, and I gotta bring this up. The lack of unity came about as a deliberate plot.
That's right.
As a deliberate plot to divide us.
Right.
And keep us enslaved mentally.
Yeah.
Mentally. And the deliberate plot, and for those of you who don't know about it, I know all you brothers know about the Willie Lynch letters.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, and it was a system that was put in place to divide us.
Right, most definitely.
The lights from the darks, the female from the male.
Who is Willie
and
Lynch?
Divide us and conquer. And that
was a
Willie Lynch
businessman
system
from
is still in
England.
effect today. It still got us divided.
Yeah.
So the real call here, and with the message that I'm trying to get to come about here, is the fact that we can do this in a different way other than violence.
That's right.
Especially violence against each other is not the message. The thing is, the call is unity.
That's right.
Unity. How do we unite? We can't even unite our different churches together.
Well, let me share this with you.
Okay, can I hold you off for a second? We're going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. This is an interesting conversation, and we want some of you young people to get this set in mind, because we can't change the way you think until we can change the people what you listen to.
Right.
So come back. We'll be right back. This is Eminem. We got more message in this music.
Right.
Hi, folks. This is Uncle Bubba. This is Eminem. We're back with music, message, and man-to-man talk. And we're having some man-to-man talk about music today. And we're talking about some of the greats of music. We've named off a bunch of greats here today. And today we got us with us today with me and Mr. Claiborne. We got Michael Dolphin with us today. And this brother is very informative and
very knowledgeable.
He's a hero in my book.
Oh, yes. Most definitely.
Michael, I can't thank you enough for being here, but, you know, at any rate, your father is a hero as well. Even though it's Gerald Wilson we're talking about.
Yeah.
All these other people you're naming are heroes.
Yeah.
You're not naming off a gang of heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much, and you know, you realize the people in context. And God knows, I wish I'd spent more time with my dad. He had a vision He had a vision about coming to California, coming to Los Angeles, and part of what drove him when we got to Los Angeles was the Central Avenue community and what it could and should be. Most folks don't know that until 1956, Los Angeles was officially segregated.
Right. Right.
There were real estate covenants.
In 56.
In 56, all the way
that
until
wasn't that
1956.
long ago.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that long
The
ago.
deed to my mother's house. In the deed to my mother's house, there's a paragraph that I highlighted, and it said this property cannot be sold to anybody other than Caucasians, in writing. And when my wife saw it, she said, "No wonder we can't come up. They got stuff in writing against us." I said, "Baby, this ain't the only thing against us in writing. This is just one of the things you've seen right now."
And I guess maybe we didn't have the water hoses and the drama of standing on a school porch in the state police, but it was officially segregated. I have photos. If anybody's ever interested, there's a collection of photographs down at the Central Library at 5th and Figueroa. It's called Shades of LA. And it's about 5,000 photos, and it's worth looking at. Because believe it or not, and I have a copy at home.
Oh, could you
believe it or
repeat
not,
that?
Shades of LA. It's at the Central Los Angeles Library at 5th and Figueroa.
I'm going to check it out.
And it has got this wonderful collection of photographs from the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. And among the photographs, and one of the ones that I took out for my own, that I had framed and hung in my home, is a family at Venice Beach. And everybody knows Venice Beach.
Yes.
At Venice Beach, standing next to the Colors Only sign. At our Venice Beach.
Yeah.
So that's the way it was, but Central Avenue was a beautiful neighborhood, so there wasn't a whole lot of, jumping up and down about that. It was a beautiful neighborhood.
Am I
so
correct
my
in
dad,
thinking that Central Avenue back then was like the Harlem Renaissance
Yes.
in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And
what it's
so
always
with
described.
that,
Central Avenue.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even with that, even my dad's thought. Someone once asked him about, well, why are you calling this Dolphins of Hollywood? And he said, people listen to the radio. What picture will they get if I say Dolphins of Los Angeles versus Dolphins of Hollywood? He was already thinking in that way
In those terms.
because people on the radio don't see.
Right.
So you help provide an image for them to see. And that was why he called it Dolphins of Hollywood, even though it was on Vernon and Central. And the radio station and a number of the things that went on around there. I mean, he was very, very focused on that. On the day that my dad was killed, there were 3 Caucasian guys waiting to see him in his office that day. And it was an argument with a songwriter. And even to this day, there are always arguments between songwriters and record people.
That's right.
And in this argument, my dad wound up dead, but there were only 2 people in the room. So, we that part we know. But the people that were waiting to see him didn't get to see him that day. And one of them did testify in the trial. But they just decided to go ahead and form their own band, and they called themselves the Beach Boys.
Right.
But they were there to see my
worldwide.
dad that day.
History.
And Buddy Collette said to me, long after my dad's death, he said, you're going to read a lot of things about your dad and the music industry, because the music industry is pretty much dirty is the way most people see it. Lots of things happen. He said, but I want you to know this for the rest of your life, that your dad helped us get heard. If it were not for your dad, we would not have been heard.
And there it is.
And there it is.
That was the bottom line.
And that was the bottom line.
Yeah. Once they was heard, they was loved.
Yeah, and they were accepted.
Yeah.
And so they all, Buddy Collette, Joe Wilson, Clora Bryant, who's still alive, who still was back in Central Avenue in the late 40s and early 50s, and is still alive. She was Dizzy Gillespie's personal mentee.
Wow.
But she couldn't make a lot of money in the industry because she was a girl.
Yeah.
Well,
And there was a movie that came out last year, The Girls in the Band. It came out about 2 years ago that talks about that time and how difficult it was for women.
for women, right?
Because they weren't supposed to outplay the boys. So, and her.
They
and
was like, what you doing up in here?
Yeah. And another female musician named Vi Red.
Oh,
They
I've
got
heard of her.
Kennedy Center honors
Yes, right.
from the National Endowment for the Arts,
Yes. Yes.
from the President of the
United
United States.
States. That's right.
Nobody talks about that.
No. No. So that's
as
our
if
job.
it didn't happen.
Yeah, we got to bring that up.
Kennedy Center Honors.
Yep.
The highest award in the land.
Yeah.
And it's
Given
almost
to
totally
given to women that nobody knows
women
about.
and musicians.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big deal if Bruce Springsteen gets one.
Oh yeah, it makes
and
all
it's
the
a
news.
big deal if the Rolling Stones get one. It's a
Yeah.
big deal for a bunch of other folks.
But
But nobody talks about Vi Red and
They
Cora Bryant.
slide it under the rug. Huh?
Yeah, so like, oh, that was nice.
Hidden information. We're going to try and unhide some of this information on this show.
Yes.
That's what this show is all about.
Yeah, bring it out. Let the world know.
Michael, we're so glad to have you on the show.
Oh,
today.
I'm
we've talked about
you
all
can tell
these,
I'm so
we've
passionate
talked about all
about
these other great people, but you yourself,
Yeah.
you yourself are great.
Oh yeah.
I'm just a messenger.
You ran
Yeah,
the EDD
but
for
you're
43
doing it
years,
good.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah, 43 years.
So
And I love going to work every day.
obviously had a passion for it.
Every day.
Obviously had a passion for it.
Because when I first went to EDD when I was 18 years old, before I went to the service, and I went into a training program with IATSE for stage technicians. And working in Hollywood on this British program, they called me colored too many times. The color wasn't the word they used.
Yeah, well, that's when we were colored
And
then,
I came
right?
very close to hitting somebody.
Yeah.
I said, I need to educate myself.
Right.
I said, because folks always tell me, well, if you're black, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I said, well, if you know you got to be better, then be better.
There it is.
So I went to
there's
the
a
service.
message. There's a message right there, and I want everybody to hear that. If they tell you can't do it, make that the reason you do it.
Exactly.
Make that incentive for you to do it, because you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yeah, and I was very proud. I was the
remember
highest ranking black man in my agency, the state of California, responsible for 1/3 of the state of California and up to 1,200 employees.
And see, I was
love
just the
going to work,
opposite.
but I never worked for the state of California. I worked for the people of California.
There it is.
Yeah,
and that was your passion. You know, and that's the other message in this. Find your passion. Your purpose is connected to it. So if you find your passion and get into your purpose, you'll never have to work a day of your life. It'll take care of you.
Yes.
It will definitely take care of you.
That's true.
Tavis Smiley said something to me once, and I love it. I've repeated it over and over again. You can't serve people if you don't love people.
That's right. You have to have a love there.
There it is.
There has to be a love there.
Love is the strongest entity
Yeah.
there is.
Yeah, who we are, what we do, and what our purpose is.
Yeah.
Michael, we're gonna have you come back so we can talk about you. And we just touched on Gerald Wilson. We just touched on your dad, but you touched on so many greats that, you know what, I've sit here and I'm in amazement myself. But we run out of time. So folks, keep watching M&M, Message, Music, and Man-to-Man Talk. We're gonna try to inform you as well as entertain you. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, watch our show when it comes back on next week.